Well, let's take a closer look at the Wagner Group. The private military contractor was started by a Russian businessman, Yevgeny Prigozhin, in 2014. Back then, it was a very secretive organization. Wagner is partially funded through its ties to the Kremlin, but it also accepts payment in gold, precious gems, and natural resources like oil and gas. Before Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Wagner stationed about 2,000 fighters in Libya. They've been there since 2019, supporting forces loyal to warlord Khalifa Haftar. The group has fought alongside pro-Syrian government forces since 2015. It also guards oil fields for the Assad government. Now, for 5 years, about 1,000 Wagner mercenaries have provided security against rebel attacks for the government in Central African Republic. It's believed Wagner joined Mali's decade-long fight against armed groups last year after France withdrew its troops. So, how might this mutiny affect Russia's international standing? Well, we're joined by Marwan Kabalan, the Director of Political Studies at the Arab Center for Research and Policy Studies, who's here with us in the studio. Everybody knows that diplomats love stability. At the moment, Russia does not have that stability. How is this going to affect Russia's standing internationally?
Well, Rob, it's really interesting that despite all the indicators that about the growing cracks within the Russian elite, nobody actually expected that this was coming. So it's really interesting. As far as Russia's international standing is concerned, I believe that the image of Putin has been shaken by this event because everybody was expecting or was looking at Putin as a strong man of Russia. He couldn't be, his power and authority is undisputed. There might be cracks here and there amongst the division within Russia, but Putin is actually in control. Now I think everybody is questioning that, and we still need to see actually if Prigozhin is alone in this mutiny, or he's supported by other elements within the Russian establishment. If that is the case, then President Putin's authority and power inside Russia will be very much damaged, I believe, even if he emerges as victorious from this conflict. As your report has just mentioned, Wagner has been playing a very active role in several conflicts around the Middle East and in Africa, in Syria, in Libya, in Mali, in Central African Republic, as well as in Sudan. Some of these conflicts actually have now been more quiet than they used to be in the past few years, especially in Syria and Libya. But in some countries like Mali and also Sudan, we might be seeing some consequences. In Sudan, in particular, where similar conflict is taking place between a militia and the regular army, because Wagner is a militia at the end of the day, was created by the Russian president in order to escape the legal consequences of certain actions on the field. In Sudan, we have exactly the same. We have a militia supported by Wagner. We all know that Wagner actually is supporting the rapid support forces of Hemeti in Sudan against the regular army. So we still need to see how that is going to impact the conflict, the ongoing conflict in Sudan, as well as in Mali, as your correspondent was referring a few minutes ago. So we might be seeing some consequences in certain conflicts in these countries. We will be seeing also a weakening position of the Russian president in the international stage. That will indeed have a major impact, I believe, in some conflicts in the region. In Syria, we might be seeing that certain parties will take advantage of the weakening position of Russia in Syria. We have seen that, by the way, over the past 18 months. Since the beginning of this conflict in Ukraine, we have seen Iran, for example, taking advantage of Russia's weakening position in Syria because Putin was forced actually to withdraw some of his forces from Syria because he needs them in other places, in Ukraine. We might be seeing also some consequences in Libya, in Mali, in Sudan. But as I said before, that will also depend on how the Russian president is going to handle all of this. Is this going to take more time to be solved by him? Are we witnessing a civil war in Russia, as some commentators have been saying since this morning? Will Prigozhin be joined by others who might be actually feel upset by the way the Kremlin has been, or the military establishment in Russia has been actually running this war in Ukraine? Because the stalemate over the past few months actually has affected many within the establishment. Everybody now is questioning the ability of the Russian military to achieve victory, which has been promised by President Putin at the beginning of this conflict.
I want to ask you briefly, because we have about a minute left. Obviously, Russia has played a significant role in relationships in and around the Gulf region as well. Do you think that this will be enough for countries around the Gulf to start reassessing that relationship in terms of the instability that you say might be seen?
Absolutely. This is another issue that we need to address, perhaps, because some countries in the Gulf, they have been trying actually to diversify their relationship over the past few years away from the United States, with Russia, with China. Now, as the Russian president is weakened internally and his image is damaged internationally, they might be reconsidering that strategy, because they might be thinking that Russia is not as strong as it's...
We're going to have to leave it there. I'm sorry, time has run out. But thank you very much indeed, Marwan Kabalan, for being with us.